إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا. These are the two most important ayat in the epistemology of the Qur'an. So when you become a student of such a teacher, when you find your Khidr, I am now an old man, tomorrow I'll be in my grave, but you are young and you're going to be searching for your Khidr, the scholar who is the only one who could be a guide in Akhir al-Zaman. Remember to be humble. Don't go with boxing gloves. Don't go challenging him. Be patient with him until he explains to you your Khidr. So Musa said, I promise you, I will be patient. Okay, I accept you. You can come along, but on one condition. Don't ask any questions. Teachers don't behave like this. Which normal teacher speaks like that? Huh? How could a teacher tell the student, don't ask any questions? This is not a normal teacher. This is Khidr. And this is the price you will have to pay if you want to study ilmu akhirul zaman. So he promises he will not ask any questions. And then they travel, and then there's the boat, and there's the boy, and then there's the wall. I don't have to tell you, you all know. I have this book, which is the tafsir, Surah Al-Kahf, the text translation and commentary, which is the whole surah. And I have this one, which is Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age, which is the ta'weer of the surah. I have this one, which is on Ya'juj and Ma'juj, which is the third book on Surah Al-Kahf. I have one more to write and make dua that I can write it on Dajjal, then the quartet will be finished. You must not ask any questions, and then three events occur. And on each occasion, Musa alayhi salam delivers judgment, and his judgment is wrong. His judgment is wrong because he does not have a full knowledge of the subject. His judgment is wrong because he does not have a full knowledge of the subject. He's only seeing a part of it. Like today we now have pipe-borne water. Huh? And everybody performing the wudu with the pipe-borne water. And everybody performing the wudu of Gog and Magog, and everybody have abandoned the wudu of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. They don't understand. A trap was set for them, and they walked into the trap. And they're performing a disgraceful wudu. That's the wudu they're performing. And with that wudu they want to perform salat. And then they come to teach you Islam and they cannot even perform wudu. So you have a partial understanding and you make the mistake. That's what happened to Musa alayhi salam. Or, I didn't want to say it last night, but let me say it now. I hope I don't spoil your lunch. You cannot get Noor without water. You cannot get Noor without water. Water is the road to Noor. Water. And if you disrespect water, forget it. No Noor for you. You cannot waste water and still expect to get Noor. And that's what you do when you make wudu now. Do you think the American Indians who lived in America before the devil came to take over America. The devil came from Europe to take over America. The American Indians, and there is a stream of water, and there are fish in the water, and the fish is food, and he is so good, he can take a spear and catch a fish. And he wants to urinate, he wants to pass water. Do you think an American Indian will go and urinate in the river? How come you're so quiet? What's wrong with you, so quiet? No. An American Indian will show respect for water. He will not urinate into water. He will not pass his stool into water. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam would dig a hole and put the stool there and cover it. And that's the best way, up to this day, the best way. Because it can then decompose because of oxygen, become fertilizer. But we have our PhDs. We belong to the age of progress and knowledge. So we do it in something called a WC. We urinate into water. And Allah says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Even if it be an evil deed as small as the weight of an ant, you're going to have to answer for it. Urinating into water? Nobody ever did that before. Dajjal came along with his WC toilet and then defecating, putting the stool into water so it cannot decompose anymore. No, there's no oxygen in the water. And then it goes through a sewage system. And where it is pumped into the lakes and into the rivers and to the coastal waters, contaminating the lakes and the rivers and the coastal water. This is the modern age. And the fish eat it. And then we buy the fish and it's mashallah, ikan bakar. So you're only seeing a part of the subject and you make wrong judgment. And Musa did it 3 times. Khidr alayhi salam, because he has full knowledge. He can see what Musa cannot see. And believe you me, we have plenty blind people in the world today. Believe you me, we actually have people in the world today with the knowledge of cattle that you could take a piece of paper, put a picture on it, put a number on it, and give it a fictitious value. And it becomes money, and even your central bank don't have 5 ringgits worth of knowledge and intelligence to understand this is bogus, this is fraudulent, this is utterly haram. And Imran Hosein could talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. It makes no difference. It makes no difference. If you had a little bit of sense, you'll understand that Israel is not so stupid as you are. That tomorrow Israel is going to bring gold and silver as money, while you stupid, foolish Muslims still remain following the enemies of Islam with this bogus money. Israel is going to bring gold and silver tomorrow as money. I hope I don't live to see that day, because the shame and the embarrassment will be too great for me. My ummah, the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and you cannot even recognize this as bogus and fraudulent, as haram. Where are the scholars of Islam? Musa alayhi salam does not have the full knowledge. Khidr has the full knowledge. And so Khidr is able to explain the boat, the boy, the wall. I want to end with a little bit of ta'weel on all three. In the case of the boat, he damaged it because he knows that something is coming and they're going to lose their property. And by damaging it, he saved the boat. So when you have knowledge which comes directly from Allah, you are able to anticipate what is coming. My critics, and they have no other job in the world other than to criticize Imran Hosein. No, his books must not be in our bookshop. No, he must not be invited to come and lecture. Protestant Islam. When you have the knowledge that comes directly from Allah, when Allah blesses you with that insight, you are able to look ahead and you can see events which are about to occur. Like, for example, I mentioned last night that nuclear war is coming. Nuclear war is around the corner between United States and NATO on the one hand and Russia and China on the other. There'll only be one nuclear war in history. Only one. Can't be two. Huh? That nuclear war is coming. And they want it sooner rather than later. Because the longer they wait, the stronger will Russia become. I was of the opinion that perhaps the nuclear war would be 5 or 10 years from now. And then I went to attend a conference in Iran in September, Conference of Independent Thinkers. And on the first night that I was there, I had 2 dreams, one after the other. And in both the dreams I saw nuclear war. I saw the missiles being shot into the sky. And I saw that Pakistan was a part of the nuclear war. The Christians call it Armageddon. The Prophet ﷺ called it Malhama. Would it not be of benefit if we able to anticipate that nuclear war is coming? And what can we do to prepare for it? Yes, only Allah knows the future. You don't have to tell me that. But Allah can, if He wishes, convey knowledge to those whom He chooses. And so with the methodology of Khidr alayhi salam, you can look into the future and see that a king is coming to seize the boats. And by damaging the boat, he saves the boat. Similarly, today we know the US dollar is going to collapse, probably with the nuclear war. I don't think it will collapse before that, but I can be wrong. And when the US dollar collapses, all the paper money in the world will go with it, including your ringgit. Their plan is to have one universal currency, one for all of mankind. And it will be invisible, electronic money. And if we are so stupid to accept the paper money, will we be so stupid to accept the electronic money as well? When we should be returning to dinar and dirham? So, when you have internal, intuitive, spiritual insight, and you study Surah Al-Kahf of the Qur'an, you are able to anticipate what is coming. Number 2, the boy. And he killed the boy because he knew that this boy was going to grow up to join ISIS and go fight the bogus jihad and become a threat not only to his parents but to the whole ummah. You can see ahead. But now look at something else. The wall. The wall is collapsing. And he rebuilds the wall. And Musa cannot understand why he's rebuilding the wall amongst the people who would not offer any hospitality. The answer is because of the knowledge which comes from him. He could not only look into the future, he could also look into the past and reinterpret history. That there is a treasure underneath the wall. It belongs to two orphans. And Allah wants that these orphans should grow up and get the treasure that their father left for them. So when you have this knowledge which comes directly from Allah, you're not only able to look into the future and anticipate what is coming, you're also able to look back into the past and connect the dots of history and recognize the dot that connects Pax Britannica with Pax Americana, with Pax Judaica, which is around the corner. And you'll understand, therefore, the movement of history. And you'll be able to anticipate how much time is there left before the Malhama. And then when the Malhama takes place, what comes after that? The conquest of, help me somebody. Come on, help me somebody. After the Malhama, the conquest of, you've got homework to do, the conquest of Constantinople. Your Prophet said so. The Malhama is coming, the nuclear war. And after the nuclear war, the next thing to occur will be the conquest of Constantinople. That is why Mustafa Kemal changed the name and prohibited the use of the word Constantinople. And we say to Mustafa Kemal, get lost. If Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam referred to the city as Constantinople, then that's Sunnah. No Mustafa Kemal could tell me I cannot follow the Sunnah. Huh? The conquest of Constantinople makes military sense only in one context. And that is that the Russian Navy could pass through the Bosphorus and the Straits of Dardanelles into the Mediterranean Sea. So we can say from USM, we can say it today, that Russia will survive the nuclear war. NATO, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Russia will survive the nuclear war as a naval power. And the Russian Navy will pass through the Bosphorus and the Straits of Dardanelles into the Mediterranean. Because when we conquer Constantinople, NATO's back will be broken. What comes after the conquest of Constantinople? Khuruj of Dajjal. Khuruj of Dajjal. And after that comes Imam al-Mahdi, and then comes the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. But that's not our subject for today. I suggest to you Surah Al-Kahf of the Qur'an is the surah par excellence of ilmu akhir al-zaman. And if you have to spend the rest of your life studying it, you must do so. Finally, there's a shortcut to Noor. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, recite Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jum'ah, and you get Noor from the samawat to the ard, and that Noor will stay with you until next Jum'ah. And he said, recite the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf over Dajjal, and you'll be saved from his fitna. We pray that Allah may bless you all to be able to study and understand Surah Al-Kahf of the Qur'an, that it may become a noor with which you'll be able to understand the world today. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا يَا مَوْلَانَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِرَحْمَتِكَ يَا أَرْحَمَ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Ameen. I want to suggest that you read Jerusalem in the Qur'an, which might qualify as a textbook of Islamic eschatology. And after reading Jerusalem in the Qur'an, then you read these books on Surah Al-Kahf. The key to the subject, and this is where the Iranians differ with me. I've been to Iran 3 times already. And Iran, the Shia ulama are very firm in their view that the key to ilm akhir zaman is Imam al-Mahdi. And I said to them, no, you're wrong. The key to ilm akhir zaman is Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So you've got to study the subject of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, particularly what happened at the time when they attempted to crucify him, which we don't have the time now to explain. And once it is established from the Qur'an, that Nabi Isa alayhi salam never experienced maut. So you're wrong when you translate the Qur'an to say he died. You're wrong. Be careful. The Qur'an does not say that he experienced maut. And since kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut, every soul must taste maut, the implication is that includes Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So wherever he is, he has to return. Then you come to the hadith about Dajjal, who will impersonate the true Messiah. And since the true Messiah has to rule the world from the holy state of Israel, from Jerusalem, it follows that Dajjal, if he is to convince the Jews that he is the true Messiah, he will have to establish his rule over all of mankind from Israel. Now you can understand history. In order for him to rule the world from Jerusalem and convince the Jews that he is the Messiah, number one, he has to liberate the Holy Land for the Jews. He did that already. When the British army defeated the Ottoman army and took over Jerusalem, 19 what? 17, yes. Number two, he has to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. He did that. And he was assisted by a Zionist clone called the Soviet Union. He was assisted by a Zionist clone called the Soviet Union. You see what happens when you study the subject? You can reread history. Number three, he has to restore a state of Israel in the Holy Land. He's already done that, 1948. Number four, he has to cause that state of Israel to become the ruling state in the world. So Malaysia has to bend its knee. That's why you lost the first aircraft. That's why you lost the second aircraft. Because Malaysia will not bend its knee. I don't know how many more aircraft you're going to lose. Because Malaysia would not bend its knee. That's why you're losing the aircraft. He has to establish his rule over the world. That's why they want the nuclear war. So that the two ruling powers in the world would knock out each other. So a post-nuclear world would be a world that Israel can more easily establish its rule over. This is how you're able to use this subject to understand and explain the world today. But I'll need a whole week to explain Dajjal to you, to explain Gog and Magog. Here is my book on Gog and Magog. Read it, study it, and then apply this knowledge to politics, apply it to economy, understand the banking system, apply it to monetary economics, understand Bretton Woods and the International Monetary Fund, and the bogus paper money and the electronic money which is coming. Apply it to the feminist revolution, and see what's happening to the world of women. There are so many other aspects of the modern age directly linked with eschatology. And our Prophet ﷺ has spoken extensively. There was a Sheikh who was speaking when I came. I couldn't understand the Bahasa, but whenever he quoted in Arabic, mashallah, he studied the subject. He was quoting for you several ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ on Akhirul Zaman. I have a booklet outside entitled Islam and the Future of Money, the gold dinar and silver dirham, Islam and the Future of Money. Unfortunately, none of us has complete knowledge, so my knowledge of the subject is constantly increasing. And since I wrote that book, there are now 2 more chapters to be added to it. Bretton Woods monetary system, which gave us the US dollar as the international currency, was backed by gold, that the US government undertook a responsibility under international law to redeem US dollars for gold at the rate of $35 for 1 ounce of gold. So there was some integrity in the US dollar. But only governments could redeem, only governments, not people. That's bogus. 2 governments in the world recognized that this was bogus. 2 governments in the world stood up to defy them. One belonged to this region of the world, and the other was France, General Charles de Gaulle. He recognized that this was unfair, this was bogus, and he spoke in the French National Assembly against the monetary system. And that's why they took aim at him and they got him out of power. Who was the other government? Answer? Ahmad Sukarno. Yeah, you're too young to know it. But Ahmad Sukarno recognized that in order for money to have integrity, the Indonesian rupiah had to be redeemable in gold. Indonesia has now buried this knowledge below the ground. You can't find it. They don't want people to know it. But Ahmad Sukarno wanted the Indonesian rupiah to be redeemable in gold. That you could take the rupiah to any bank and you can get gold for it. If Ahmad Sukarno was successful, the Indonesian rupiah would not be in the disgraceful state where it is now. And my daughters would not be slaves. My daughters would not be slaves picking up your garbage. My daughters working for the salary of a slave in Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. But who talks about that? So Sukarno took Indonesia out of the UN. May Allah bless him for that. People who have one eye can't understand it. But people who have two eyes would say, may Allah bless him for that. And Ahmad Sukarno took Indonesia out of the IMF. Yes, he did. Hugo Chavez is one of my heroes. He's my next door neighbor. I'm from Trinidad, he's from Venezuela. Hugo Chavez tried to take Venezuela out of the IMF and could not succeed and died. But Sukarno took Indonesia out of the IMF. And that's why the CIA had to put their stuntman Suharto and remove Sukarno so that the CIA will rule over Indonesia. Two governments. Until eventually Dr. Mahathir, when he was about to retire, also took aim at the monetary system. Where are the scholars of Islam to tell Bank Negara? Where are the scholars of Islam? You'll have to answer on Judgment Day. You will have to answer on Judgment Day. Unless the scholars of Islam stand up and say this paper money is bogus and fraudulent and haram, your so-called Islamic banking will prosper. Is there any Islamic bank in the world which is arguing that we should bring back gold and silver as money? Dinar and dirham? None. If an Islamic bank calls for dinar and dirham, they'll shut it down. They'll shut it down. That's not my only criticism of Islamic banking, so-called Islamic banking. There are other criticisms as well. But we don't have the time today to go into that subject. Is there any relationship between democracy and shirk in Akhir Zaman? Of course. Of course. Democracy has come as part of a package. The package includes the modern state, the modern republican state, the modern monarchy, the Khilafah state in Islam, and medieval Christian Europe, and the Hindu state. They all recognize something above as supreme. In the case of the Khilafah state, Allah is Al-Malik. Allah's sovereignty, Allah's authority, Allah's law is supreme. Dajjal came with the modern state, and the modern state around the world today, whether you have Islam as your state religion or not, whether you call yourself the Islamic Republic of Pakistan or the American Republic of Pakistan, the modern state says Allah is not Al-Malik. No. Who is Al-Malik? From the time you sign to accede to the Charter of the United Nations Organization, the Charter of the United Nations Organization makes it obligatory on you to submit to the supreme authority of the Security Council. Allah could tell you something else, but when the Security Council orders, you have to obey. Once you accede to the Charter of the United Nations, you're committing shirk. Iran had a revolution 35 years ago. I was in Iran last month to tell them that. 35 years now, and you still cannot recognize in Iran that you're in shirk by being a member of the United Nations Organization. The modern state says Allah can make it haram, riba, but we can make it halal. Is it halal in Malaysia? My question to you, is it permissible in Malaysia to lend money on interest? How come you're so quiet? Yeah? Malaysia, you made it halal. You made it halal. Banks lend money on interest all the time, including Islamic banks doing it from the back door. Islamic banks are lending money on interest through the back door. The commercial banks are doing it through the front door, the Islamic bank is doing it through the back door. But they will not challenge me. No. No, they will not challenge me. So it's halal. Allah made it haram and you made it halal. All around the world today. If you make halal what Allah made haram, what sin is that called? Answer? It's called shirk. Where's the evidence? Surah At-Tawbah. Surah At-Tawbah. So yes, democracy is part of a package. Democracy is also part of a package called elections. And through elections you choose your government. But there's something called accountability. If you make a choice, you should be held accountable for your choice. Accountability. But Dajjal is very clever. In elections, there is no accountability because you make your choice anonymously. You see how clever he is? You vote secretly. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you for accepting that. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you for accepting that. Ours is different. We Muslims, ours is different. That's yours, ours is different. In ours there's something called shura. And when you give your decision, you give your opinion, you give your vote, you are accountable. People know who you are and they know how you voted, they know your opinion, shura. So there's accountability in ours. There's no accountability in yours. So you can rig the election. That's why Scotland is still a part of England today. Yeah, it's not your ustaz who asked you to do that. It's Nabi Muhammad. It's Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. There's one hadith, the first 10, another hadith, the last 10, another hadith, the opening ayat of Surah Al-Kahf. Memorize them, particularly when you have to go to immigration. Memorize them so you can recite. This is meant to open up for you the whole surah. That the whole surah is important, to study the whole surah. But by all means do memorize it. If you can memorize the whole of Surah Al-Kahf, that's even better. What is the importance of reciting the first 10? And the answer is here in this book, so I don't have to answer you, okay? The second part of the question, how do we protect our teenagers from the traps, the fitna of Dajjal? Number one, are you ready? Turn off the television. Number two, take the television and throw it out of the house. I rented an apartment in Gombak, KL. My landlord is Chinese and very nice man, very straightforward in his business dealings. And he kept his apartment very beautifully, mashallah. And he was so happy he's leaving for me a huge television in the sitting room, big like this, and another one in the master bedroom. So I called him. I said, thank you, take it out, take that one out. My Chinese landlord is looking at me with disbelief. He cannot understand. You don't want it? I said, no, take it out. We don't watch television. No. I'm staying in a hotel, I never turn on the television set in the hotel, never. Because that is one of the most important instruments that Dajjal has for brainwashing. Brainwashing you. Number two, the internet has its value. There's no question about it. My eschatology has now reached all over the world. Not even the Salafi can stop it now. And it's because of the internet. But then the internet is also filled with time bombs, so you can easily be distracted and easily be misguided. So as parents, you've got to monitor your child's use of the internet. Shopping malls are dangerous places. Shopping malls are dangerous places. When a 15-year-old boy leaves Kampung and comes to KL and goes into a shopping mall, his eyes open big. And when he sees the half-naked woman, his mouth opens big. So the less you can have of visits to shopping malls, the better. If you have problems with your teenagers and you cannot solve them, you cannot get them under control, then solution is get out of the cities and go and find residence in kampung. The best kampung of all is the one where you cannot use a cell phone. The remote countryside. And there you have a chance of protecting your teenagers, yes. Actually, Malaysia is in great danger, and the loss of the 2 aircraft should be a wake-up call. Malaysia is in great danger. Why? Because the nuclear war is around the corner. Israel is going to step out from behind the hijab, because Israel has to replaced the United States as the ruling state in the world. And from the time, for example, Israel launches an attack on Pakistan's nuclear plants, guess what's going to happen in this part of the world? We had a taste of it in 1990 when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. When Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and all the Malay, all of them, including those who were in the cabinet, all the Malay were in support of Saddam Hussein. None was supporting Kuwait, because the Malay sentiment in their hearts, they could recognize who was the oppressor and who was the oppressed. So when Israel steps out from behind the hijab, starts to launch her wars, Muslim sentiment in this part of the world is going to be inflamed. No government will be able to control, none, the Muslim people of this region, particularly in Indonesia. And if Singapore does not respond, if Singapore does nothing, then goodbye Singapore. Goodbye Singapore. Because Lee Kuan Yew in his profound foolishness, I mean, this is not just simple foolishness, it's profound foolishness on the part of the founder of Singapore. Not to recognize that Singapore is a little island in a sea of Islam, and to adopt a policy of becoming Little Israel, I mean, that's a PhD in foolishness. That's what Singapore is, Little Israel. So from the time Israel steps out from behind the hijab, there's going to be such a backlash against Singapore that no Singaporean will be able to come over to Johor with the hope of returning home alive. You're not sure? Because no government will be able to control the people. No. Well, then how is Singapore going to survive? The little island cannot be defended. No, it cannot be defended. Not possible. The Malaysian armed forces probably already know this. I'm not saying anything new. The only way that Singapore can possibly survive is to get more space. So one can expect some rash move on the part of Singapore at the expense of either Malaysia or Indonesia, more likely Malaysia. But any such move on the part of Singapore will trigger racial war, race war in this part of the world. So you're sitting on a gunpowder at this moment. You're sitting on gunpowder at this moment. And it is eschatology, the study of eschatology, that will help a government in Malaysia, the government in Indonesia, to prepare for what is to come. I don't think I should speak any more than what I've just said. Question is Dajjal a human being, or is he an animal, or what is he? How do we describe him? Were you here for the whole lecture, or did you come late? Because I did mention, did I not? I did mention that Dajjal is going to appear in human form. Dajjal will appear in human form. When he does so, he will be a Jew. He will be a young man. He will be powerfully built. He'll have the curls of the Orthodox Jews. I did say that, did I not? That, of course, is not the full answer, but it's too complex a subject for me to go beyond that. So you should be suffice with that, okay? Make dua that I can write my book on Dajjal, where you'll get a more comprehensive answer than that. The question is, how do we explain to our parents, how do we explain to the society that money is not everything, that there are things in life that money cannot buy. It is Allah who guides the heart to Him. You cannot do it. All that you can do is to warn, nothing more. And when you warn, you must call people with wisdom and do it in a nice and graceful way. Once you have done that, وَمَعَانِي إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ, I have done my duty. I have guided you, I have warned you about the dangers of the dunya. And if you choose to follow that path, then I have to accept and not seek to oppress you. That's your choice. Question: who provides them with state-of-the-art weapons, the most sophisticated weaponry? Do they have the technology themselves? Do I live in dreamland? Do they have the manufacturing plants? Who provides them with all these weapons? Number two, who is financing them? They're being paid $1,000 a day to go and fight? Huh? Where's the money coming from? My answer is that it's the same force at work that recruited them in Libya and sent the weapons into Benghazi. I don't want to speak anymore about how the weapons reached Benghazi. The Turkish government has a lot to answer for to Allah on Judgment Day. This bogus Turkish government, pretending to be Islamic. And they recruited fighters from different parts of the world, paying them money. These are mercenaries, not mujahideen, mercenaries. They're fighting for money. And they show no Islamic etiquette, Islamic rules of warfare. In the case of Tripoli, they waited until Ramadan. They waited until people have fasted for the whole day. And now it is the time to break the fast. And everybody lay down their weapons to sit down over there, iftar, to eat. And these wicked people who say they are mujahideen launched their attack at that time and killed maybe 1,000, 2,000 people in order to take Tripoli. They can't be Muslims. Their place is in Jahannam. The same people who did that in Libya, in consequence of which Libya is now, it's a failed state, it's finished. It's rubbish, that's what Libya is today, rubbish. And NATO is in charge in Libya. So when the attack on Egypt takes place, Israel will attack from one side and NATO will attack from the other side. The same people are also there in Syria. Who's providing them the weapons? Turkey is doing it. Turkey is a member of NATO. That's prohibited by the Qur'an. Prohibited by the Qur'an. Turkey is providing the weapons. Saudi Arabia. The Prophet ﷺ pointed to the east, to Najd, and he said, Najd is Qarnu Shaitan. Qarnu Shaitan. The age of Satan, not the horn, the age. It is Qarnu Shaitan who is behind ISIS today. Not just the CIA, not just the Mossad, it is Qarnu Shaitan. Providing the weapons, providing the financing, doing all the strategic thinking for ISIS. But if you don't want to believe me, you can wait until Judgment Day and you see for yourself. But on that time, don't ask for excuse on Judgment Day. No, too late at that time. If you can't see now, man kana fi hadhihi a'ma fahuwa fil akhirati a'ma wa adalla as-sabil. Whosoever is blind here will be blind there as well, and more misguided. That is the Qur'an. Yes, there is a hint of this in Surah Al-Kahf, that food is going to be a problem in Akhir Zaman. Remember, the young man slept for 300 years. When you wake up after 300 years, you're going to be hungry. So they sent one to get some food, and they gave him instruction, فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَيُّهَا أَذْكَى طَعَامٍ. Go search for that food which is purest. That is what we have to do today. Food today is increasingly corrupted and contaminated. And your baby, for the sisters here, my daughters here, be careful. If you provide your babies with the milk that they have corrupted and contaminated with hormone injections, then a baby boy will grow up feminine. It's not that Allah created him that way. I have a case now in KL. The mother is spending so much money, she doesn't know what to do. The little boy is behaving like a girl. He has all the mannerisms of a girl, he's talking like a girl. It's hell for the mother. and the baby girl will grow up like a tomboy. And you don't know what to do with this girl. She's not growing up like a girl, she's growing up like a boy. She's behaving like a boy. You, the mother, you have the problem more than the father. He's outside working all day. So you've got to be very careful about food, because they're putting into the food that is going to contaminate and corrupt the food and create problems for you tomorrow. That was the question on food. But if I may be allowed to take on one more subject about Dajjal. It's not going to make me popular, but I'm not here for popularity. In the Qur'an, Allah is plain and clear. Allah is plain and clear in the Qur'an that He created men to have several wives. Oh yes. He created men to have several wives. And the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to have several wives. And so too the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. And if men are to have several wives, it follows that Allah must have created more women than men. You cannot have men having several wives and yet create same amount of men as women. So forget about the official statistics. Forget about it. There'll always be more women than men in the world. Dajjal it is who has come along. And when you study ilmu akhir zaman, then you will understand the study. And brainwashed, all of us, including the scholars of Islam, brainwashed us all that good men, decent men, respectable men, men who are models of conduct, are men who have only one wife. And when a man takes a second or a third wife, like your grandfather did and your great-grandfather did, something is wrong with him. You despise him. You don't want to marry a man who already has a wife. No. People are going to laugh at you to be a second wife. This is the attack of Dajjal. This is the attack of Dajjal. And so, if you are to earn Allah's blessings, you must stand up and defy Dajjal. If you have the means to do so and you can take a second wife, go ahead and do it. Imran Hosein is speaking. Go ahead and do it. But if you cannot be a good husband to your first wife, you cannot be a good husband to your second. No. First be a good husband to your first wife. Then you can be a good husband to the second, the third. You don't have to be rich to have several wives. No. In many parts of the world today, there are poor people in the villages who have several wives. But it is something pleasing to Allah when you act in accordance with Allah's guidance. This is part of the strategy of Dajjal. So as men have only one wife, there'll always be a surplus of women out there who cannot find a husband. That's a recipe for disaster. I am about to deliver a lecture on the subject, the master plan, Dajjal's master plan for Akhir Zaman is to bring about Shia-Sunni civil war in Islam. They tried it when Saddam Hussein attacked Iran, and the war lasted for 8 years. They were hoping that it would become a Shia-Sunni civil war in Islam, but it did not. They tried it again in Syria to make it a Shia-Sunni war in Syria. They didn't succeed. And now they're trying it with ISIS to get Shia-Sunni civil war in Islam. If they succeed in fomenting Shia-Sunni civil war in Islam, goodbye Pakistan. Goodbye to Pakistan. Pakistan cannot survive. They want Pakistan to collapse because Pakistan is the only Muslim country today with nuclear weapons. And in order to avoid a frontal attack on Pakistan and nuclear war, it would be better if they can get Pakistan to collapse from inside with civil war. So the Protestant Islam, the Salafi view, is today to beat the drums of war against the Shia. That's what they're doing. Beating the drums of war against the Shia. This is why I travel to Iran again and again. to try to build solidarity with the Shia ulama. And I was just in Iran 3 weeks ago, and I said we've got to sit down and come to some common understanding to inform the Sunni world that you cannot say that the Shia are kuffar. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. That's schoolboy methodology. The Shia are kuffar. In order for you to say that they are kuffar, you have to declare a fatwa. The fatwa has to be issued by someone of authority, someone with knowledge. And it has to be a document. And that document has to get ijma', consensus. That has never happened in history. No. And no one has ever prevented the Shia from performing the Hajj. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. How come no one in the history of Islam have prevented the Shia from performing the Hajj? How do you explain that? No ijma'. And now you come to tell Imran Hosein they're kuffar? That's schoolboy stuff, that's not scholarship. So we have to get this into the head of the Sunni, that the Shia, the Ithna Ashari, they are Muslims. And we also have to get it into the heads of the Shia, that the Qur'an is the supreme authority in Islam, not the Hadith, the Qur'an. You cannot divide the Ummah based on Hadith. No. Is there anything in the Qur'an which states plainly and clearly that succession to leadership in Islam is divinely ordained and restricted to the house of the Prophet ﷺ? No. The Qur'an does not establish that. That's from the Hadith, not the Qur'an. And you cannot establish a belief system only on the Hadith. It has to be supported by the Qur'an. And so you should stop. Stop it. Stop ever saying that Abu Bakr Siddiq and Umar Farooq and Uthman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhum, that they were usurpers. That is a sinful thing to do. That's nonsense. It's false. Stop it. You cannot establish a belief system based on hadith, unsupported by the Qur'an. So we've got to bridge the divide, the Shia-Sunni divide on these two issues. And hopefully I pray that Allah may help us that we can prevent Shia-Sunni civil war in Islam. I should restrict, I was very guarded in my answer to you, and I should restrict my comments to what I have said, nothing more than that. I don't know the names of the political parties, no? I don't know the names of the political parties in Malaysia and in Singapore. I know PAS here. I don't think PAS knows me, but I know PAS. So, I don't have the time really to study local politics. I don't have the time. My time is devoted to the big problems, the big issues around the world. So your local ulama are the ones who should be guiding you on the question you have just asked. All I have to say is, Singapore is lost, is finished. From the time Israel steps out from behind a hijab, there's no way Singapore can survive unless Singapore does something to try to enhance its security. What is Singapore likely to do? I believe it's going to be something rash. And if it does that, it's going to trigger off racial war. We've got to prepare for it.